Well, parliamentary members from across the political spectrum are meeting in Canberra today. They're looking to build support for an Australian head of state. Joining me live now is Craig Foster and Nova Peris. They are the co-chairs of the Australian Republican Movement. Good to see you both. Thanks so much for making the time. Nova, firstly to you. Nice to see you back in Canberra, firstly. Do you worry that we could see a bit of referendum fatigue here with so much focus on the upcoming Voice referendum? What do you see as a realistic timeline as to when Australians will actually be asked to go again to a referendum, this time on the Republican issue?
Well, we've been advised that, should Albanese get back in as Prime Minister in the next term, that it'll be the second year into his next term. So I guess we're here because we're launching the Parliamentary Friends Group, where we've got fantastic co-chairs of all political spectrums. So we're here to build the political support, and we're very mindful and respectful that we are having a referendum this year around the Voice, but we're not going to deny Australians the opportunity to actually go back to the polls in 3 or 4 years' time to actually become a republic.
Craig, do you agree with that? Do you think we can walk and chew gum when it comes to having the Voice and the Republican issues live so close together? What would happen, do you think, if the Voice referendum fails? What would that do to the Republican vote? It could perhaps give pause to any government wanting to attempt another referendum.
Well, we can't project too far ahead, Ash, and it's difficult to know for all of us. All we can do is continue to build institutional and political support as we're doing here today, and we're delighted that Russell Broadbent, Helen Haines and Fatima Payman are the 3 co-chairs, which demonstrates the really strong cross-partisan support. In fact, we understand that there's at least 2/3 of parliamentarians who are Republicans as we speak, and as Nova was rightly saying, we're so sensitive and respectful of the needs of First Nations right now and all Australians to have conversations around the Voice. But we do think that these inspiring conversations that are looking back about a truthful history are also playing into this broader conversation about the Crown, about colonisation and about Australia's future, and about bringing all of these strands of Australian history together, whether the 65,000 years or indeed the British tradition and our migrant story, to weave a new national identity based on, 65,235 years of history, and for sovereignty to be vested in the people. The reason why we're here just particularly right now is because it's only 5 weeks to the coronation of King Charles, and that's going to really focus Australians' minds on this broader issue as well, and the fact that their head of state is someone who is unrepresentative, certainly unelected, is definitely unaccountable, and we think it's time in the next couple of years for us to make that really important step.
I know, but do you think that voter sentiment has really shifted significantly since the death of Queen Elizabeth?
Oh, absolutely it has, and I think that was probably the reason why we failed way back in 1999. There was a strong support for the monarchy then, and with the passing of Queen Elizabeth last year, the soon-to-be crowned King Charles, King of Australia, I think will absolutely make Australians really sit back and have a good look at, is this the country that we really want to be associated with? When you look at the fact that there's 56 countries in the Commonwealth, only 15 remain as part of the British monarchy. Australia is one of them. And the next couple of years, Craig, I think 9 will fall off, and then we'll be down to the last remaining 6 countries. So it's timely, and we owe this to Australians to showcase to the world that we are truly ready to become a true independent country with our own uniqueness.
So as you both start to really lay the groundwork for what will be huge campaigns in the lead up to this referendum on the Republic, Craig, I'm interested to hear from you on this in terms of both you and Nova having such a strong background in sport. What sort of role do you see sporting clubs playing in these national debates? There has been some criticism in some quarters, for example, about the expectation that the NRL and the AFL codes will go really big in terms of backing the Voice. Do you see sport clubs as having a place in that national debate?
Great question, Ash, and of course they have to. The reason being is because they're a huge social institution in Australia, and all of us are civic and political actors. Every Australian has a responsibility, a duty to make sure that we're helping in any way we can to shape the Australia that we want not just all Australians now with our beautiful multicultural demography, but all of our children and theirs to inherit. So each of us has that responsibility, and sport is no different. When it comes to the voice, actually they have a stronger responsibility around human rights and the right to self-determination of our First Nations people, which the Uluru Statement in the Voice is just the manifestation of. And that's why I think you'll see strongly all of our major codes coming out, and rightly so. When it comes to this, it's for all of our institutions, and therefore Nova and my job, and I'm delighted that Nova became the co-chair of the Republic, which is just fantastic, only last week, and to have her powerful and strong voice talking to Australians, including, of course, to sport as a legendary Olympian, is important. But what we're doing is building institutional, political, as you see here. Last week was Tasmanian Parliamentary Friendship Group and grassroots community, civil society support across the country this year. And the reason is, as Australians can see, we're both pretty vocal on this issue, but we're not in the public domain to any great degree at the moment, and that's, out of, for good reason, is because we're so respectful of what's going on and the importance of this voice referendum. And what you'll see is us just building support, a parliamentary, institutional, so we're calling on all multicultural peak bodies and having wonderful conversations, academia and elsewhere. And then next year, you'll start to see the question around Australian independence and a head of state who is one of us really start to be framed publicly.
Yeah, I've got no doubt our viewers will see a lot more of you both in the coming months and years as you really try to build momentum on that Republic vote. Thank you both for joining us live there in Canberra. Really appreciate you making the time.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Anne.
Thank you.